welcome to episode 2 of the On Trade Network sessions. Thanks for joining us again. So tonight, my special guest is the head of the On Trade, National On Trade in Brakes Food Service. Some of you, I'm sure, will know him already, and lots of you. This is Joby Mortimer. Joby, welcome.
Afternoon or evening, Ross, even, or I was going to try and pronounce good evening in Welsh, but it got beyond me. So, Bore-da's good morning. That's as good as I've got, I'm afraid.
Okay, it's noswaith dda.
That's it. That's exactly it.
That's okay. For any of those of you who aren't currently aware, I am Welsh, and it only really comes up during rugby, I think, Joby.
We don't talk rugby at the moment.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But no, I really appreciate you coming on to chat to us from a food service perspective, but also just, you know, you've been in the industry, in the on-trade for a very long time. So really value your opinion. So if you want to just give us a bit of a background on who you are and where you come from, as they say.
Well, Silla. Yeah, so I'm Joby, and I have spent something like about 25 years in the on-trade. I started out at what is now Budweiser Brewing Group, spent 15 years there, getting to know many of the great wholesalers, and a load of them are on this group, which is great. I then, when what was InBev sold off the free trade business to the wholesalers, I joined one of the wholesalers, a company called Bablake Wines, as their sales and marketing director. Fantastic family-owned business. One of their depots was sort of 2 minutes from my house, so it was dreamland, really. Great job. And then after a period of time, there was an acquisition from Amethyst in London, and they bought out Bablake's. And at that point, it was time for me to start looking for other roles. And I hit lucky. I got approached by Budvar at that time, before I'd actually even sort of put myself out there as looking for work. And I joined Budvar and spent 4 years there as sales director for the on-trade, and absolutely brilliant business. I'm drinking proudly from my Budvar mug tonight. Spent 4 great years there. And during that time, my governor at Brakes, a guy called Mark Ellis, who I'd worked for back in my InBev days, came knocking on my door and asked me if I'd come and join food service. And for a long time, I was not sure if it was right for me, because I love beer, and I wasn't sure if peas would excite me as much as beer. And I can confirm it doesn't. But a brilliant business, huge operation, part of the global Cisco business. So we're a £65 billion business globally, biggest food service provider out there. And the opportunity to step back in and run this on-trade channel and cut my teeth in another section within the on-trade was too good to turn down. So yeah, I joined Brakes 18 months ago. You can probably say terrible timing, because I had sort of induction, just got my feet sort of on the ground, and COVID struck. But yeah, so I've been at Brakes for 18 months running the national on-trade. And then outside of that, I've got interest in an app called The Barcode, which provides order pay solution and drives footfall into venues. I own a wine company called Waistcoat Wines. I'm sure I can sort you out a discount one day if you want one, Ross, but you're a beer man, so it's probably wasted on you. Yeah, I've got an interest in an Indian beer that will be launching in the UK soon. So I love to keep my hands very much kind of involved in all things on trade. I'm born and bred in it, really. So yeah, love it.
I don't think, you know, I mean, I've worked in a couple of industries. I was in automotive for several years before I got into this industry, and I don't think there's probably any industry quite like this one for, you know, bringing people in and really it becomes part of your lifeblood, doesn't it? You know, you absolutely live and breathe for it, and have a lot of affection for this industry. Hence the reason, you know, we've got so many members joined up with the On Trade Network, is there's a passion from people for this industry. So I get it. We're probably lifers. We're in it forever, mate.
Totally.
So in terms of Brakes, obviously it's been a pretty rubbish 12 months or so for a lot of people. And, you know, particularly your channel then providing food to the on-premise. You know, how's the company coped? What have they done to adapt and diversify?
Yeah, so for my channel specifically, it's been really tough, as you can imagine. So we got involved in some of the food shops that a lot of operators created during the pandemic, some off their own volition and some by joining things like My Pub Shop and businesses like that that popped up. So we did a lot of supporting businesses to create, community hubs to enable locals to buy food and keep the pub as a central part of the community. And that was great for probably now when people have engaged with their locals. It didn't necessarily drive masses of revenue, but it was a really good thing to do. But I think that probably the biggest thing we did, and the thing we're most proud of, is we got involved in the DEFRA boxes that the government paid for. And we partnered with Bidfood, and Bidfood are our biggest rival out there, but actually we came together as two businesses for the greater good. Supplied millions of boxes to the most vulnerable out there, and that we covered our costs, and that actually enabled us to keep a lot of people working that would have probably been furloughed. And it was really important for sort of us as a business to be able to do whatever we could to support the country at its hour of need, and even now we're delivering the testing kits to all the schools out there. So we've been really kind of heavily involved in trying to support communities and the vulnerable, and actually what that's done as well is it's given us a really good voice at the table when we want to lobby government for things like substantial meals and opening before the 17th, and all the restrictions that are out there that have been challenging for us as a business. It has given us a voice at the table. How much that voice kind of gets listened to, of course, we don't know, but it's been really good for us for that. And what's great is our supply chain director received an MBE for the work he did, and his equivalent in Bidfood got one, and so it's been really good for that sort of supporting the nation in its hour of need, and that's been our key thing.
That's brilliant. I mean, it's businesses like yourselves that have really stepped up during the pandemic, and when you think of what's happening in the on-trade specifically, okay, but when you look outside of that, like Formula One teams helping make ventilators and equipment for hospitals, and just everybody stepped up. There was kind of a social responsibility. And I really think the businesses that did that kind of thing will be remembered very fondly by the public, but also by your customers. And I know that it probably wasn't with an eye on that kind of selfish agenda. It was more because it was the right thing to do. But people remember those people who stepped up and supported. So hats off to Brakes for that. I wasn't aware that you'd done quite so much. And that's fantastic. So what is the plan? So things are starting to reopen. How is business looking?
Business is brilliant, mental, incredible, way ahead of forecasts. I think everyone I've spoken to, both brewers, supply chain people, operators, everyone has been sort of caught out by just how good it's been. We've seen a colossal return in terms of spend and volumes. It's challenging. You think about one of our favorite analogies, you're trying to squeeze a tennis ball down a hose pipe in essence right now, because you're trying to remobilize so many businesses out there, and that's tough. That is really tough. But what's great, and again, we talk about why you love the on-trade. Everyone's so understanding, that everybody is having those same challenges. Just on the group tonight, we had people trying to get hold of Heineken products because the demand has outstripped the availability, and that's always a challenge for everyone. And we felt that each time when there's been a lockdown and a reopening and a lockdown again, it's always a challenge, because you in essence have to take businesses that have sat dormant for a period of time. And so for us, if I think about how it works for us for a moment, we've got our suppliers that have been dormant, that have got to remobilize their sales force, get the production in place, and then get the product into us while we're remobilizing our business and getting that product on the trucks and getting it to the pubs, who are then remobilizing their staff and training and developing them again to be able to open the doors for the consumer. So there's a lot of challenge in getting ready for the reopening. And of course, there's small matters like this isn't the most interesting fact you'll learn, but we've switched from southern hemisphere to northern hemisphere on produce. There's been massive frosts in Spain, so things like broccoli hasn't grown anywhere near as much as it should. And of course, you can't magic up broccoli. It takes as long as it takes to grow.
Yeah.
So suddenly, broccoli is like hand sanitizer. At the start of the pandemic, it's the new thing. So yeah, there's lots of challenges. But the thing I've said to everybody is, I'll take the challenges every day over where we were, 3 weeks ago when we weren't operating at all. It's brilliant that we're back, and everybody in our industry, everyone pulls together to support each other. And as long as we can keep educating the consumers to bear with us, then I think we're in a really good place.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, like you say, I mean, let's not kid ourselves that the industry we're in is a hard industry to be in. It's great, it's fun most of the time, but it does get stressful, and it does come with its fair share of challenges. But I think most of us will look at that very, very differently now, because I mean, I was furloughed for best part of 6 months. Some have been furloughed for a lot longer. You don't grumble, do you? Like you say, it's a lot of challenge, but you'd take that any day over being shut. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but so what do you think about the pub industry? How obviously there's going to be some long-term effects to the COVID pandemic, and some of it will be really positive in terms of the hygiene and sanitized stations, and all of the stuff that's been put in place. Lots more table service. Actually, a lot of businesses have future-proofed their outside spaces. Invested in that. Do you think that do you think everyone will adapt fine?
Yeah, I do. So I think if you look at broadly how it's been, when you look at Public Health England stats, only something like 3% of cases were ever attributed to the on-trade, because what happened is instantly everybody adapted track and trace, created safety stations, switched to order pay solutions and what have you. So as an industry, we are absolutely leading the charge with making our businesses as safe and as inviting as they can be. And tragically, there have been some businesses that we've lost along the way, but then we've also seen brilliant businesses rise from the ashes. And you see, like when Oakman Inns took on Seafood Pub Company and brought that back under their umbrella, that's two amazing businesses coming together to create an even stronger one. So there's sad stories and there's good stories along the journey, I guess, ultimately. But I do think as an industry, we adapt really well. We adapt quickly. We embrace the change. We might not agree with it, but we accept it, embrace it and move on. And I think we're in a really strong position to come back really well over the next few months. Whilst for many of us, we want to go on holiday, the fact that there's not likely to be any foreign holidays until after the summer is brilliant for us, because that means lots of people that have got money in their pocket that would have been spent on holidays will now be spent in our hospitality industry, which will really help with the bounce back on that side of things. So I think we'll see a lot of people adapting. The bit that kind of from a longer term perspective is I look at kind of all the operators out there and how many of them have worked their way up through the ranks within industries. Within hospitality, starting out as barmaids, barmen, whatever it may be. And there's a lot of people that, because of furlough, because of the way hospitality was sort of singled out in many respects, I think there's a lot of people that potentially could have joined our industry, worked their way up and become future leaders of great businesses that we may have lost forever to other industries. And I think that's one of the long-term effects that we won't know about for a number of years. But I think that's a really sad thing that's come out of this. So we've all got a duty now to really make sure we promote how awesome it is. There's 6 million people that work across the industry. When you look at operators and supply chain, I think that makes us the second biggest employer in the UK. And we absolutely all have a duty to shout about how awesome it is to keep people coming to work in our industry and keep that industry vibrant and alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
My soapbox subject, sorry.
No, you're right. We will have lost some good people and certainly lost some good venues along the way. And like you say, this industry's had a lot thrown at it. But broadly, everybody just embraces it and just rolls up their sleeves and cracks on. You know, when you look at the kind of venues that never had a serviceable outside space previously, who've gone, right, I don't want to wait until indoor is available. I want to start seeing my customers and trading again. And they've pulled off absolute miracles to, you know, and the innovation that's gone into the industry, you know, it's just brilliant to see everyone working together. So I totally agree, you know, and the more people we can share how great our industry is at adapting in these kind of circumstances, yeah, I'm sure we'll bring more people on board and we'll get back to best. So so what's your where's your local from you?
So I guess my go-to pubs when I'm in Gloucester would be Brewhouse and Kitchen and Portivo Lounge. If everyone doesn't know I love lounges, then they're stupid. You know, I'll always go there. But I love Brewhouse and Kitchen. They have great food from a fantastic company called Breaks, but they also have a brilliant beer range. So when I go to Brewhouse with my friends, I've got one who only likes a certain type of cider and it's got to be premium. They have it. I've got one who likes, he doesn't drink, so he wants a good range of no and low alcohol. They've got it. I like to try lots of different craft beers. They've got it. So brilliant venue to go to. Great food. We've got one on the Keys by us, so it's a beautiful setting by the water. So they're my sort of go-tos locally. And then if I go broader afield, then you're starting to look at, if you like Guinness, the Toucan in London is the best pint of Guinness you will ever get anywhere. I think even better than Dublin, probably. Albert Slosh in Manchester. Everyone loves that. There's so many I could pick from, but yeah, locally for me, probably I'll go to as when we're out with the boys is Brewhouse.
Yeah, well, you know, as you know, we haven't quite opened in Wales yet, but the pubs are due to open their outdoor spaces Monday, and Brewhouse and Kitchen in Cardiff is the first place that I've booked that I can take, and you know, slightly different, you know, to you saying you go out with your friends and some of them like certain drinks, etc. I'm taking my wife and children, and obviously two of them don't drink alcohol. But there's
you and your wife.
So, and there's a great selection of kids drinks, and
yeah,
I get to be like a kid in a candy shop with all the beers, and Sarah, my other half, will drink a nice glass of wine. So yeah,
absolutely. We go there as a family, Ross, as well, and I've got 3 young ones, and you're absolutely right. They just cater for everything, so it's a really good business.
It sounds like we're being paid to talk about Brewhouse and Kitchen, so.
Yeah. There are other great venues out there.
Yeah, other great venues are available. But
well, in fact, I should say the first place I've booked post the 21st of June is the Guinea Grill in Mayfair. Now, if you like a good meal, go to the Guinea. That is special.
Okay. And we're going to the famous Three Kings.
We are.
Kensington in July, which is a great sports bar in London. So there we are. I feel like we've broadened it out a bit now.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's job done. Well, listen, Joby, I really appreciate you coming on. I think most people will get from this interview a sense of your passion for the industry. And, you know, I look forward to seeing you out in trade. And, you know, cheers.
Yaki da.
Well done. And yes, good luck, and I'll see you very soon.
Nice one. Thanks, Ross. Great to see you, mate.